graphics is still fine on my side. All right, cool. You can't hear the people in the background, right? I don't need to go tell them to be quiet quickly.
No.
Okay.
Should be fine.
All right, and we are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, to a Monarch ZA South African weekly scrims. Ooh, tonight's gonna be a goodie, Tendo. I'm just so excited to get into
Yeah.
this amazing gameplay. Take it away, take it away.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well, Cinda. It's been a while since you and I have been together on the mic, so it's going to be a very exciting run. And yeah, we've got a lot of great teams that are here. You know, a couple of teams that we saw competing in the previous, big tournament that happened for Africa, the Nodwing tournament. We've got the likes of Blind Peakers. We've got WRG here in the scenes, Punks. We've got a couple of up and coming teams as well. Cinda, are you taking any pics of today on some of the teams that you've seen?
Oof, dude. I mean, I would be in the lobby right now, and we are seeing a pretty stacked lobby. There is only one team that wasn't able to make it for whatever reason. But dude, I'm honestly, I think I'm gonna hold off on my predictions. Just I want to see how the first game goes. When we get into the first game, what's really interesting compared to the past weeks of scrims that we've been running recently. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a cast, but luckily we're back. And the dynamic duo, it's going to be insane. 3 things that I must mention tonight, which is going to be on the roster. World's Edge is the only competitive map that is in the current competitive map pool, and that is globally. So you will not see any other scrim tournament that's hosted on any other map but World's Edge. So we'll be running 4 back-to-back World's Edges. And what's really interesting is that this isn't a map that's in the current cycle. None of these teams, unless you're playing in scrims and EU scrims or other hosted tournaments, no one is going to be able to have scrimmed for this or practice unless they were joining in the Apex weekly scrim. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how the teams divulge and dance around that. So that's really cool. And secondly, we have money, cash money on the line, Tendo. 3,000 Rand is up for grabs tonight, and it's going to, that's that extra incentive, that juicy incentive for the teams to do as well as they possibly can, pay for those placement points instead of going for the kills, which we've seen. We've seen a lot of these ZA teams. They're hungry, they're ready, especially the likes of Scare and White Rabbit Gang. As you were saying, it's going to be really, really intense. And on the worst, I don't like this hits me the worst. Is that one of our admins, our only admin, the one who's been making it all happen behind the scenes, making sure the lobbies go up, making sure everything is ready, everything is prepped, that the games, the teams are renamed, just the absolute mad lad that he is. Unfortunately, EG Dodge is going to be leaving us after this week of scrims, and it's sad, and we would just like to thank you so much for his service and everything that he's done to build up the weekly scrims to what they have been today. And it's harsh, man, but we gotta move.
Yeah, definitely we gotta move. And speaking of moving, it's gonna be interesting to see how these squads are gonna be moving in and out of their rotations and how things are gonna be going. Cinder, any places on the map that you think are gonna be highly contested, where we're gonna see a couple of fights, maybe a couple of places where a couple of teams are gonna be rotating and fighting, towards their way towards that final zone?
Oof, dude, that fragment west, that fragment east, I mean, it's World's Edge, baby. I mean, like, those are your key points, especially going into those chokeholds as you move over towards, oh, my goodness me. I should have studied the map better, shouldn't I? It's been a while, but staging is obviously a good one. Countdown. You obviously have Skyhook, which is the old favorite, and Trials, which I've seen a lot of competitive teams going towards recently. Obviously Trials you can probably just run it one man, but there's often a duo that drops down in Trials and then has another guy who's looting on the backside of Skyhook. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how the teams and how the games go down tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how the games go down tonight. And speaking of the game, we are launching into the first game. And if I'm not mistaken, Cinder, we're playing 4 games today, right? If I'm not wrong.
4 back to back, Tando.
fall back to back World's Edge a game. So I'm looking at Fragment to maybe start off the day over here with a little bit of action, because we know a lot of squads love to land Fragment. It's, you know, a really great loot spot. You know, it's got that guaranteed beacon. It's got some great loot buildings as well. But you know what? Let's not fantasize and continue speculating on what's going to happen. Let's actually find out what's going to happen, as we're starting off today with Innovated Crimson. And Cinder, you and I know the Innovated squads. They be in and out of these sprints.
That is so true, dude. And we also love to see their names every week. It's something different, whether it's red, blue, orange, crimson, lilac. I mean, it's just this whole entire Rainbow Nation, definitely the Rainbow Nation of the weekly ZA scrims. So it's really fun to see all the different names that they come up with and all the different teams that they actually managed to pull together. I think, you know, there's at least 3 or 4 that seem to jump into the lobby every single time, and then swapping over to OGC. OGC really the big and up and coming team that we've been seeing in the scene at the moment, Kendall. It's actually quite interesting that Neo also she started alongside Jared this amazing movement called Uplift Apex ZA, where it's just a whole entire family of the local scene just trying to bridge the gap between competitive as well as casual gamers alike in the ZA scene. I think it's just an absolute brilliant thing. But you know, it's a crack squad. Banana, oof, my god, barely could read that one. And Neo, they're gonna make something happen. Honestly, I think that's one of my teams that I'm gonna be looking out for alongside Project Rise. Daddy Cool, the man himself, not on a Mirage, Kendall?
Yeah, pretty interesting to see this. But I think, you know, maybe he's adapting to... Speaking of adapting, he's gonna have to adapt and throw down that dome so he can get out of this and get some cover. But there's nowhere for Daddy Cool to really work with here. He's taking a lot of smoke from the opposite end. His teammates not really offering him any cover fire as it starts. They are a full Spitfire squad. So like, what are the odds of you guys landing and all finding Spitfires? I swear. Oh no, there's a just the 2 players with Spitfire, but they managed to get them knocked down. Daddy Cool does get knocked as well on top of that. So now they've lifted into 2. They managed to get another knock on top of that with the rest of the squad. So Project Rise doing well, yeah, but then all of a sudden Dog gets stuck, and now it's just a 1v1. It's Atomic Monkey who has to now clutch this one up for his team. Both members down, back against the wall.
35 bullets in that Spitfire. He's also got an EV8 that he has to trade to, but he's going to go for the res here. It does seem like he might be able to get it off in time. Unfortunately not. The other players already pushed. It's battle of the Spitfire as he pulls out that EV8. He's going to push around and see if he can get an angle here. Unfortunately missing 2 of the most crucial shots here, but he's in a difficult position. He's going to go down, just unable to clutch it up, unable to hit those shots, and that's going to be them eliminated in the top 19 squads alive. And that was versus Punks Gaming. Tremble Colder, your boy, clutching it up with an alternator and a massive Kendall. That's an interesting conversation that I think we need to have. The massive nerf coming in, and a lot of people seem to be favoring the EVA 8. What's your preference?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's one of those, that situation where the meta is, if you're comfortable with the weapon, you definitely can frag with it and definitely can use it. So I think the place for the Mastiff is definitely still there for those kind of players that like to jiggle two covers and try to just hit these really high damage shots and, you know, maybe try to reposition themselves, where either 8 more favors the play style of get in your face and, you know, try and do as much damage as you can. But well done to Punks there. Punks one of those teams that, you know, just never seems like they're performing to the best of their abilities, but taking out Project Rise is a big win for them as we tune into WRG.
Oof, WRG, now that is a hard-hitting squad. We've seen them, they were actually recently playing in the last chance qualifiers. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so well, but with the likes of WRG, Rexu, Scare, and Low, this is a hard-hitting squad. All individually cracked players able to hit their shots when needed to be. And it's interesting, you know, looking at their armor situation, 2 blues, 1 white, you know, they're looking pretty decent. They're taking a long rotation, and they're playing this for placement. They're playing it for the long run. There is money on the line, and I think that's definitely something that teams need to keep into consideration, as we have seen 5 squads have already been eliminated as we switch over to Blind Peakers making their rotation. Aquatic, also 20 and Gutbuster. This is another team that has been competing on the international bracket as well for the EMEA region, and this is a really hard squad and a really tough squad to go up against.
Yeah, I would not like to go up against blind peekers in a 3v3 gunfight. Speaking of 3v3s, that new season update bringing 3v3 Cinder, I wonder how interesting that's going to be. I'd love to see you and myself, casting a bit of 3v3 tournaments. I think it'll be a nice spin and a nice twist to how Apex is. But obviously, we love our Battle Royales, and Battle Royales have lots of squads involved, and we still have 14 squads as everybody is trying to find a bit of a home as we tune into LeBron, who is having to rat things out. Doesn't have a teammate at all because the banner's timed out and they haven't loaded in with one. So that's going to be a rat story to keep track of as we tune into Innovated Sky, who are making the rotation out of Lava City.
Oof, Innovated Sky. Now, this is a team we've seen in almost every single weekly scrims leading up to this point. Like Desire, I Will Rise, and Haze. And, just looking at all the teams that we've mentioned through tonight, there is amazing individual players inside of all of these scrims, and it's going to be really interesting to see all of them collide and clash, especially with the likes of Gutbuster and that team rocking up. They're not exactly a team that we've seen coming into ZA scrims as much, and I think it might cause a big upset, especially considering they just came out of a Monarch, not the Monarch, my apologies, the African Throwdown, where they made such a name for themselves and a huge performance there. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But Fractus Gaming, with the likes of a truly Logic and JJ, are truly one of the best IGLs that we have in the scene right now, as well as also was playing in LCQ alongside his two teammates, Clash and Tenchi. I mean, I wonder where those boys are tonight, but still, you can only imagine he's just laying down the calls and making sure that the whole team is making their proper rotations.
Yeah, definitely. And we got to look out for Factors because you can't outrule JJ and Logic. They've also been playing a lot of scrims together, and as you look into the kill feed, it does look like has got themselves into a bit of a fight here. They might be against the Browns. Are very split from each other right now. The Horizon player trying to do as much damage as he can, but no, actually, this is a different fight altogether. And the tides have turned just a tiny little bit. The massive shots are coming through, making for a little bit of damage. Zipper has to get inside the building to get some cover here. The res is being popped on the opposite side. It's a bit of a bait though, and the Pendulum slides back out here, but there's a third party looming, and it's Factors who are making this rotation in, and they've just managed to clean up the squad real quick, but it's not over yet for Factors. Logic is taking a little bit of smoke. JJ also goes down on top of that, so now it's just Trini and Logic left in this fight.
Oh my god, and Logic going down there. It's all up to Trini to try to clutch it up. Unfortunately, that was a third party that they just shouldn't have taken. It is the likes of OGC just coming for that fourth party, that fifth party, and they were the ones that was able to capitalize on such a dogfight that was happening in the beginning. And that is the nature of the game, unfortunately. Unfortunately, two different teams coming from two different angles on the original two teams that were fighting. And it's just, no one really ever wins in that situation except for the last team that is able to just clean it up. But we do see Rexu with the Kraber in hand. That is a beautiful thing to see. We do love to see those beautiful, amazing, crisp, crackling Kraber shots ringing out, but it seems like they're taking this very casual, very slow, making sure that they're playing for their placement, making sure that they're taking this real estate as much as they possibly can. Actually, one of the only teams that's in the zone, except for the Rat that's been climbing under the bridge all game. And is this really the way? I think it is a good way to start off. You want to play for that placement in the first game, but considering how many teams are left in the lobby, do you think it's the wisest decision, or do you think maybe you should be a bit more active, a bit more proactive, and going looking for points, Tendo?
Yeah, it's a bit of a balancing. I think you just have to start the lobby this first game, and the lobby looks like Blind Peakers has been feeling this lobby out, and they're just running through it at this point as they take out Innovative Sky, if I'm not mistaken, and they all just call out of rotation, and they go down to the hands of Blind Peakers. So Blind Peakers is basically gathering all these kill points in this lobby, whereas if you contrast it to the position where WRG is, they're not really, fishing for too many kills. They're really focusing on their rotation and their positioning. But speaking of fishing kills, it does seem things are going down at Lava Fisher as Lone manages to knock one down from afar here, and that's going to be Linux that goes down. But it does seem like this is a crossway fight because on the opposite end, there is the likes of OGC. Lone's taking up a lot of damage. He needs to get to cover.
Hold on.
And
he is able to get Yeah, able to get to cover. I did see a Kraber shot coming out from Rexu, then he was able to get it down on one of the players. As you can see, Skeg, he's taking that initiative. He's going a little bit further than he used to, overextending. He is the Wraith of the team, so he can use that Q to come back whenever he gets the chance. As the scan comes out, he does spot with the Kraber. Rexu just trying to hold the angle. Unfortunately not able to lay down the shot. He's going to go for one maybe here. He does hit at the 116. Absolutely destroyed the Bloodhound. He's just trying to make it away, trying to get out, see if he can get a little bit of placement or something. But he's going to get finished out really quickly, and it just seemed like there is one player left on that team as Rexu pulls out the Kraber once again, gets reloaded, pushes with that R9. This Gibraltar is just such a nasty thing, and you know, we haven't spoken about that too much. We've seen so many Gibraltars that are just, you know, they're in the meta, they always have been meta, but even more so now, considering that Wraith is a little bit nerfed and you have the Rev Octane meta. Gibby is just one of those age-old heroes that just never falls out, you know? He's always that go-to in a comp that likes to grow a lot.
Yeah, I just think, you know, the kid of Gibby is just like S tier, you know what I'm talking about. Like, he's got his defensive bombardment as his ulti, which is not only used as, you know, an offensive means, it's very defensive. I mean, it's in the name. So you definitely can use it in two ways, to either gain some ground, retreat, and coupled with the shield, it just makes him good. And we got another Kraber in play here on the side of Punks. So this is going to be a very interesting end game. All the teams are close to each other. OGC seem to be in a bit of a fight on the opposite side here, which is what I was looking for. They've got a bit of a tough spot to get out of here, as El Diablo's going to have to just jump pad out. Both Neo and Banana have been knocked down, and it's WRG on the opposite end, which, no, it's a bit tough for you, El Diablo. You got to get out of this one. And there's a team right below you that is just there, but luckily he manages to get out with the skin of his teeth. Gonna throw an All-Star back there to just guarantee his safety. So, Neo's low-key still alive here, so he might be able to wrap around, get this res off. This might be huge for OGC if he can make it to the opposite side before Neo bleeds out, but maybe WRG is just gonna be looking for him and they'll sniff him out.
I think perhaps that might be the case, but that was the likes of that beautiful caper coming out from Rexu, able to down OGC, but on the side of Stealth also finding themselves in a sticky situation here. It seems like they're doing all right. Anibrand, one of the classic clowns who's just recently joined the Apex scene, but he's done really well considering for himself as they start to wrap around here. Dragon Slayer, it does seem like he is having a bit of a lag issue there, but they are trying to just rotate, trying to make this rotation on the outside of the zone. They've got 2 minutes to make it. Unfortunately, Dragon Slayer taking a lot of damage along with Anibrand. Anibrand's going to fall down. It's up to Dragon Slayer and Vlad Mango to try and make something happen. Unfortunately, Mango goes down. It's all up to Dragon Slayer to make it happen. He's going to pop that bat and he tries to find some kind of solace, some kind of cover amongst these rocks, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much. He might have been starting to make a portal. He's going to see if he can push his teammate into that portal, maybe clutch off the res, as he does see the team in train yard very far away. So he's going to push through those res. We do see a Ryzen ulti coming out and another nade, and at Ryzen, the nades are just going to be too much to deal with. The Dragon Slayer is on very low HP. He's trying to lay down some fire that he can, but just not able to do so. With the likes of Punks just rolling in, making sure that they don't leave a single player up or left behind.
Yeah, really good use of the ulti there from Calder to just delay, not even delay the res. It's more just keep them in that position so the team can gain some ground and get closer to them. And they managed to clean them up real easy peasy. Doesn't look like El Diablo was able to get any of the banners, so he's going to be ratting things out by himself. Tuning into MSP Titans, who are down a member as well. Frenzy and Crucifer are the only ones left in this building holding the low ground. White Rabbit Gaming on the outskirts over here. Now there's 2 Krabers in play, so you really need to be careful when you make these rotations. WRG gonna make themselves a bit of a home here inside this building as they enter and cozy on up. On top of them is Blind Peekers, so they do need to be careful with that. Because if Blind Peekers is able to maybe snuff a knock, I know Blind Peekers, they're very, you know, push heavy. And if they get a knock, they'll work off that, and WRG needs to be careful, especially if they have a Kraber in hands.
This is very true, but DLG, oh my word, the Jingle Junkies rat is still sitting under the same bridge in the same place for pretty much, I would say, 3 or 4 zones now, as Dark is just taking a huge amount of damage, and he's just going to fall down. That is unfortunate to see. Ninja Meanies and Dark being eliminated there, but he did make it to at least 7th, 8th place. That is not too bad. You do get the placement points, so he did as well as he could have, considering the way that the lobby is structuring right now, as Punk's Gaming starting to make their rotation towards this high ground, this position just outside of the high ground. They will have these windows and things to peer through, but it's just not going to be enough. They're not in zone, not yet. They need to try and get onto that other side of the highway where that lonely Gibby is just sitting there. Maybe they'll be able to spot him out and he's going to be eliminated. We'll have to find out. But MSP Titans, unfortunately, Mr. Goodman has been eliminated. They're not going to be getting him back anytime soon, but Crucifier and his boy Frenzy trying to make something happen along the lines. They're trying to push on the edge of the zone, see if they can find some solace, some kind of real estate to work with as we tune back into White Rabbit Gaming. The Rexu God himself, he's got 6 shots left in the Kraber, still carrying it all the way to this late game. 6 shots, 16 people. You can make that work if you get a few collats, as he has spotted a player on top of this mountain. A red Evo Gibby, he's definitely not going to be able to down unless he's able to get a headshot there. They're just chilling. They're having a good time. They have zone. They have everything they need. They just need to make sure that they can pinpoint where the teams are, how these teams are rotating, and what's going to be the best push for them in the late game.
Yeah, definitely. And Blind Peak is just hugging the edge of the zone here, using this rock to their advantage to just, plot out what's in front of them. This rock has never really been good for a lot of teams that, usually sit on top of this. I feel like I've never seen a competitive game where the team on top of that rock does, a successful job in holding it, especially once everybody, gets word that that rock is in zone and it's got this much high ground in this area. It usually becomes a bit of a bloodbath. But for now, Blind Peak is holding things down as the rest of the lobby is still trying to rotate inwards here. DLG now on the low ground making this rotate. They found themselves a Peacekeeper, and we know those can be huge in some of those close quarter fights. Peacekeeper coming back to ground loot, Cinder. How are you feeling about that?
Oh, I mean, do you remember that meta, the Peacekeeper meta way back and when, I think it was season 3, season 4? Dude, that meta for me, I was most beloved meta out of all the seasons thus far. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. And if I had a choice between the Peacekeeper, the EVA 8, or the Mastiff, I would choose Peacekeeper every single day of the week, especially with that choke ability. I'm wondering how they're going to work with that hop-up system going into it. But still, we see Punk's Gaming now pulling out their Kraber. It seems like he's splattered a few shots here and there. He's got 7 shots remaining. Is he going to be able to find a player? It doesn't seem like they're able to spot out. They have spotted out White Rabbit Gaming, but White Rabbit Gaming, they're chilling. They have a good time. They have this beautiful hardcover. They have the late game zone. They have the heroes, the utility, and the ammo and everything else needed to work with here. So really great initiative coming out from them as we switch over to Blind Peakers, and those are the 3 lovely little people sitting on the high ground, sitting on this rock, just peeking and teasing at White Rabbit Gaming. And this is a great position. I think this is a really good position to be holding, especially going into this later zone. They still will have that high ground to work with, and they can see all the teams making their rotation. The likes of DLG, unfortunately, Bradubel still running that white armor. It's amazing that he's still able to run so freely without getting eliminated here. But 5 squads left, 13 people remaining. I think, the lobby's a little bit thinned out, so, they were able to make their rotation pretty easily, get it for free, as Punk's not having the same luxury. They don't have much cover to work with. It's cold, it's just dodging, weaving, trying to dodge as much as he possibly can. And OGC, unfortunately, Banana with the disconnect, and this lonely Octane Rat who's found a little cubby to hide behind. It's really, really important to realize that, especially with the money on the line, that playing like this and making sure that you can get as many placement points going into the late game is very, very viable for your team going into the next couple of games.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta ring it out as far as you can with these placement points, because as much as kill points are very crucial, it's sometimes that 12-point win that really gets you on top of that leaderboard. But things are stabilizing as we see with the next zone is going to be pulling. Quick overview of where everybody is on the map. And yeah, I mean, look, WRG is probably in the best position to take up the fights, at least, that are going to be coming in. DLG, Punks are probably going to have to, fight each other. I don't really see El Diablo going too far. So what's the word I'm trying to use here? Anyways, the two teams that I think are in a really good position to clutch out this game is WRG and Blind Peakers, because I just think WRG again has this control of this building. So as long as they hold their ground, they'll be. Oh no! Kraber v Kraber. Whose Kraber is better? It looks like it's Tremble's Kraber, and that might be a big move there for Punks. Yes, it is. Punks is going to work off this. They're going to try to get involved here, but they're getting tagged from everywhere. Is that a stick from Coulter on top of that? So now things are starting to crumble on both sides. Punks and WRG waging war against each other at this point. Ultis are falling from the sky. It looks like Blind Peakers is also trying to just poke from the sky here. They're going to try to get El Diablo out of the sky, and he's gone from the situation. Kyo is down on the opposite end on DLG, so now it's just Punks alone with Tremble.
I have to commend Punks Gaming as Tremble just trying to stay alive. Unfortunately, they were able to get that Kraber knock and they were able to push as hard as they possibly can, but definitely not winning the fight. White Rabbit Gaming able to stabilize, able to get back to ground zero after all that carnage, as well as being on a disadvantaged side in a 2v3 situation. Luckily, there was the likes of Peaky Blinders from the high ground able to help them out and try and tease away as many people as they possibly could. As we switch over to DLG, unfortunately, Cyberstorm not having that many resources to work with, as well as one of their teammates being eliminated, and I don't think it's going to be raised anytime soon. But WRG, Skeg, it's extending a little bit too far. Blind Peak is taking huge advantage of that, able to down one of them. As they're going to lay down a few nades, we do see the Octane making a little bit of a rotation.
Charging battery.
Capitalize on the knock that they were able to get, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. They're going to keep their high ground and keep their high ground, which I think is a very, very good call in this situation. They can play this high ground all the way down to zone 7. So it's definitely looking like it's going to be in their favor. They have the ulti on 20. They have the jump pad. They have everything they need to work with, including those red farmed up Evo shields. They are looking very, 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 very juicy right now. It's their game to win as we switch over to DLG. Lonely Duo. You know, if they can time this right, if they can just work with what they have right now, they might be able to do something, as it seems like White Rabbit Gaming very, very deterred, very angry that they were down. They're going to try and lay some shots back and try and see if they can get the counter initiation here and make something happen.
Yeah, so DLG now have to make a big decision in who to third party, and honestly, it's obviously gonna have to be White Rabbit here because they're on level playing terms here. But WRG making a really good play, because now they can play just directly below Blind Peakers, where they'll still have a little bit of the zone pull, but still not enough for them to really get a big advantage in this fight, as Blind Peakers does have this high ground, and they do have a little bit of that edge still in zone when it's gonna close on top of everybody. So now it looks like things are not looking good for DLG as Cyberstorm goes down. So now it's all up to Brad, the lonely Bloodhound player. Zone behind his back, needs to pull out. In front of him is WRG. What can you even do in this situation? Just edge your way into the zone and he's gone. Nothing you can do over there. So now it's the final fight here. It's gonna be WRG versus Blind Peakers. WRG on the low ground, and the ulti comes from the sky. And now the dome is popped, and that's a really good dome, and they're able to break the Horizon ulti on top of that. So now that's a piece of utility wasted on the opposite side. But now look at this high ground play that they're getting here from Aquatic. He's trying to give his team as much information as he can. The dome has to be popped from Gunbuster's side here. But look at that, Gunbuster has is absolutely destroying the Octane player all the way on the low ground there. But this off-start in the dome is going to be a little bit sticky, and it does his way up. So now it's a full jump down. 20 with the Eva 8 doing as much damage as he can. He's hitting almost every single shot. He's alone, but WRG on the low ground somehow managed to win it.
Two. That was absolutely intense. That was all about timing. What it came down to at the end of the day, you did see WRG having to expend that Gibby Dome really, really early, which put them in a really rough position, considering that Blind Peakers still had that high ground. They still had the advantageous position to work with to make sure that they can lay down cover fire. They had cover above the cliff. They had the headshot angles. They had everything going for them until that Arcstar was able to sneak its way underneath their Gibby Dome and crack 20, forcing him into the zone to take more damage, as two of his teammates had dropped down already, putting them in a 2v3 situation, as well as 20 just taking way too much damage. And it was just a series of unfortunate timings, and we saw the Gibraltar ulti coming out from Blind Peaks really early after they knew and had forced the Gibby Dome out of WRG. And it was a really great initiative. Unfortunately, WRG using the big brain, playing underneath of the veranda on top there, which was able to cover most of that, mitigate most of the damage coming out of that Gibraltar ulti. So it was just, from both teams, just exceptional play and just a brilliant arc star. I think that arc star truly won them that fight in the end, and just, again, WRG just playing it to perfection.
Yeah, no, WRG really put on a masterclass there. I mean, you know, the moment that Horizon ulti fell down from the sky, I thought, look, this is it, man. I mean, they're just going to spam nades on top of them, and then they're just going to drop afterwards. But they do well to drop the dome, and then they're able to, you know, destroy the ulti fast enough. And like you said, they just, you know, held their ground pretty much in that position, and they worked as a team. And I'm sure the shot calling must have been on point for them to, you know, focus the right members on the blind peeker side. So, you know, big congrats to WRG for taking the first game.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what those scores are looking like. And we were going to be right back with just those to see who's going to be on top, who's going to be taking game one, who's going to have the most points, who's going to have the most kills, and where all the other teams lie, and see the law of the land. It's going to be really interesting. We'll be back in about 5 minutes and we'll bring you the scores.
Mic on.
It is a different ball game trying to look for the action and cast it at the same time now.
Sorry, give me a second.
All right, I need the butt camera quickly.
All right.
Apparently the stream is shit.
Dude, my mic sounds very staticky. Very odd. It sounds like
it sounds fine when I'm watching on stream. What did he tell us?
Boosted. You need to change the map overlay. Overlay on the top left above the weapons. Yeah.
But I feel like it's fine where it is on the map. Like, no one actually looks at the map, right? Right? Yeah, they do? Okay, hectic.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
He said I must put on weapons. Where does weapons usually
above on the right-hand side?
Might as well change the match number while we're here.
What do you have me on Discord? Like what? Higher than that. Like, so a little bit smaller, and yeah, perfect. Yeah, like even like central, like where you would put your webcam.
Like yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Cool.
What do you mean? It's got audio. It sounds fine on stream when I was watching though. I saw it. Okay, wait. Let me actually watch it.
I heard. Yeah, it does sound bassy or tinny or something. I don't know. I can try. Let me try unplug and replug.
No, I'll restart my audio thing as well. It might be a problem, I guess.
Testing.
Maybe your audio, your volume just a bit too high. Let me turn it down on Discord, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, settings are fine on my side, I guess.
Dude,
Yeah, it sounds a look bassy.
it sounds fine.
It sounds
Though.
fine, but yeah,
Is bassy not what you want to sound like? A sexy man, though? Like, I don't get it.
I guess. It's not bad.
Let me lower my mic so that maybe it'll.
Scores up.
Thank you very much, sir.
Dude, I don't know, dude. Honestly, you sound
It's okay.
pretty alright to me.
Yeah, it's good. Don't worry about it.
Okay. The scores.
Scores are up.
We stopped lobby code, yeah.
Lobby then, yeah, I was hoping lobby code.
Is it up?
Lobby is up. You can join. I'll send it out now.
I know what you're talking. Let's see how the scores look like on the screen. Okay, looks good to me.
Yo, Mr. Rampage, how's it going, buddy? Are you well? Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Candy code is up, lobby is open. People are joining very quickly.
God damn. Sheesh. Okay. Let's join into the lobby, Tendo. Is there any way you can go full screen on OBS? I'm just struggling to see the names a little bit.
Does this make a difference?
Let me just enter the. Come back to you.
Hello.
So as long as it's full, you can just go straight into the next game while we talk.
No problem.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Tender, whenever you are ready, my sir.
All right, let's make it happen. All right, we're going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
And we are back, dude. Game 1. That was. I honestly wasn't expecting so much carnage and distortion towards the end there. That was absolutely insane, especially with the lights. Unfortunately, DLG just. I think they were just strapped for meds. They were strapped for resources, just not having enough going into that fight, and could see that, especially considering the Bloodhound was sitting in a corner with no meds, nothing to deal with, and just waiting for his death. But that was a really, really interesting game and really well played to WRG as well as Blind Peakers, especially in that final fight. That is something I didn't expect, especially considering Blind Peakers having that high ground. That was incredible. I mean, would you have foreseen that, Tendo?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like when you look at like statistics, or you'll be like, yeah, most of the time the team on high ground will probably end up winning the game, but you can never back, you never back down from a fight like that. I'm talking about when you're the team on the low ground, when you're looking at that team above you, you have to still try play it as if you can still win, and that's definitely what WRG did. And they didn't panic; they held close to each other. They were shot calling properly. They coordinated well, and I just think we could even see when Blind Peakers was taking that fight. They were just all over. Aquatic is running down the hill, up and down. 20s flying in and out of the air. Gutbusters just maybe trying to get the comms together from the team. So compared to WRG, I just felt like the comms from them were a little bit better than Blind Peakers.
For sure. You can definitely see in the gameplay. I mean, you saw Blind Peakers maybe being a little bit too arrogant, taking a little bit too much real estate that they shouldn't have, maybe putting themselves in a position that wasn't, the best one at the time. But at the end of the day, WRG able to clutch it out. But I'm interested to see what the scores are looking like, Daniel. That's going to be really, really interesting as we go over to the scores. White Rabbit Gaming hitting that double digits with Blind Peakers in the first game, 20 points, and Punk's not far behind in 14. That's not too shabby, Tendo.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they got a lot of those points from running around and getting kills in the lobby. So it goes to show where you have to balance the game. And look, WRG is probably only with 21 points because they weren't able to get those kills, right? We saw them earlier, rather playing for rotation, playing for the end game building, and they only started to pick up kills towards the latter stage of the game. Where a team like Blind Peakers, who we saw on the move, pretty much closes the distance from all those kills. So even though they kind of throw the win at the end, they are still on level terms with WRG, I want to say, points wise. And right now, the two at the top are probably my two favorite teams. I think Punks, if they can get things together, as well as OGC, get things together and start organizing themselves well and start picking up a few better rotations, they will be able to get a few wins here tonight as well, I think.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I definitely think it's more than possible. A lot of these teams, Innovative Sky, ASAC, Stealth, Hydra Gaming, Red, Crimson, Project Rise, unfortunately just not doing so well. It's the first game of the night. It's the first game of the night. You've got to give them some leeway there, but at least, they got 1 point. They got 1 point. That's something. But it's going to be interesting going into this game too. I did see, a lot of these teams taking these early fights, taking such aggression in the beginning of the game. That's one thing that I think maybe Apex Legends South African scrims hasn't come to terms with yet. A lot of people playing a really aggressive game as opposed to playing more of that late game, playing for the guard spot and playing for that position, which I think is, maybe just because everyone's super, what's the word? Confident. Confidence is a good word. Everyone's just confident, wants to run at each other, but we are playing for 3,000 Rand, Tenor. There's money on the line. You can't be making those mistakes. Yeah, game 1, make that mistake, that's fine. But we're going into game 2. We've got 2 games after this, Tendor. And that's where you really need to make something out. And you've got to play that placement. You've got to go for the late zones. You have to make sure you are playing for that top 3 position.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. And I you know what? I'd like to say the playstyle of ZA Scrims is, in comparison to how the Middle East African region goes. You know, we actually had the privilege of watching that GLL, you know, Master Spring, where they were able to broadcast the region, which usually doesn't get a broadcast. And we saw a little bit of that playstyle, you know, looking at the likes of Flying Camels, who, quite frankly, were just stomping the lobbies. So I think a lot of these teams realize that they can do that in WWEs. But at the end of the day, playing smarter does work. And if you look at White Rabbit Gaming, they definitely played that a lot smarter. And that's why they ended up with the win. And we'll be starting off with WRG as they are about to make the drop over to Thermal Station.
Thermal Station, that is an extremely far drop, but they have crafting, they have everything that they need, and I think Sculpius is in rotation today. It's the longbow, sniper rifle, I think it's sniper and Sculpius, so yeah, it would be the longbow combination. And that's another thing we haven't really spoken about, the use of snipers. You know, especially we see in the EMEA region, the EU region, a lot of snipers are used in the beginning of the game just to farm that damage, get those evos farmed up, and try to do something. But I haven't really seen too many people, except for we see Aquatic Ames. He's got the Sentinel on him. Dude, the Sentinel slaps recently. Tender, have you seen that thing?
Yeah, man. It's like one of those weapons that's always been slapping, but recently people are just discovering that like it actually slaps harder than we thought, you know. So I think it's gonna make a big comeback in the new season, you know. Considering I think a lot of people are gonna try to take a lot of far range fights, considering we're gonna have what, 4 shotguns in the loot pool, Mozambique, Eva 8, PK, and Mastiff. So you know it's gonna be a lot of teams trying to maybe adapt to a new playstyle of playing distance instead of playing these close range battles. And you know, often in scrims you'll actually see this where teams will start off with the snipers because they know we're not going to get into people's faces when we're making these early game rotations where there's this entire lobby of people still rotating, whereas towards the end game you'll find the def boxes around. You know, you can pick up a young mastiff here and there. So I think we're going to see a lot more snipers emerging in this legacy season that's coming in Apex.
That's very, very true. I think the thing that hurts the most is the Mozambique hammer points being taken away. Why would you do such a horrible
Look,
thing?
I mean, they're adding 6 shots to it, right?
I mean,
basically, it's like
yeah,
getting
it's
the hammer
true,
point.
but you're never gonna get that satisfaction of walking up to a guy and just, you know, and just pumping it out. It's just not, it doesn't hit the same, you know, it just hits different, dude, you know, and not in a good way. That's the sad part as we see Blind Peakers starting to make their rotation. Oh, Blind Peakers, just again, we've spoken about how crap these guys are as a team at 20. You know, all of these guys, master players, you know, they grind really, really hard, and they've been doing really well for themselves. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the next top 3, especially going into the next couple of these games. If we do see they start to aggress onto a team of Thermite, blocking them up the stairs as a nade comes out from Aquatic Ames, just trying to dance up the zip line, just making it look so beautiful and so amazing. As we see 20 taking an absolutely monstrous high ground, but unfortunately he gets knocked on top of the building, and there's no way for him to get off of that building. He is stuck up there. There's no way that they can maybe get the balloon and go onto that banner, but they are now fighting a 2v2 situation right now. And that's just something you just don't want to be doing. You don't want to get that and be too arrogant and think that you're able to just farm that team, because they can fire back. They will shoot back as we see shots return fire as Aquatic and Guppas are trying to make something happen here. Ray trying to pick up shots. This is a really difficult fight, considering that, you know, you were 3 up and 92 down as Guppas are taking a huge amount of damage, but he's able to lay a little bit back as we pull out the beautiful Mozambique. He's almost able to get that down on the play. He does get it down as Aquatic Aim is trying to get the finish and get that armor swap as quickly as he possibly can. I'm not too sure where the other two are. It is the team of Life Desires, Innovated, trying to make something happen here. I mean, Tendo, it's starting off in such a bad way and being able to just kind of equalize it. I mean, is that something you would have expected?
Yeah, look, like you said, Blind Peakers, master players, they've been grinding, they've been doing it. They need to clean this fight up quickly if they're going to try to get 20's banner all the way on top of that tower, though. But so far, Aquatic and Gutbuster, man, the shots through there are just being supreme to bring this back for the team. So now they're in a 2v1 situation as 2 of these players have been knocked already. Actually, they're able to get a res on one, so they're actually going to bring it back here. Wait, is there more than one person up there that is shooting? Yeah, because now WRG is involved, or they're on the opposite side. I'm a bit confused on what's happening. I think maybe the team got a res and has brought it back into a 2v2 at this point. So now they're just trying to do as much as they can. And ooh, that Buster, Mozambique takes them out, and that's actually going to be one of the innovated squads going down there, which is a little bit unfortunate. And yeah, it doesn't look like 20 Savannah is going to get recovered. So
At what cost? Yeah,
At what
exactly. At what cost? I mean, look, I still believe in the dynamic duo, but I mean, that's just something you shouldn't be doing that, especially this early in the game. 15 squads alive. There's still a lot to work with. You know, you still got to make a rotation. You still got to make sure that you're taking fights that are going to be advantageous to you, and that's just it could have been cleaner. We'll put it out there, but it doesn't seem like it was clean for Hydro either, as it just seems like Pyronite, the last remaining player, doesn't even have a bat or shield cells to work with, as he is just cracked and running away. As I see his shots ringing out behind him, he's just trying to get some kind of closure. He's just trying to reset the mental, as it were, and Hydro Gaming Blue. We saw them got some placement points. They were able to clutch up a few placement points, and I'm sure they'll be able to do it again. They got to play it a little bit more safer, unfortunately not having that third. I'm not too sure where their third is. And Punks Gaming, Tremble, K9, and Punks Golden. Now, this is a squad that I do expect a little bit more from. You know, they played it really well. They were able to get that R-Star stick, able to get that knock onto White Rapid, but you know, they pushed a little bit too aggressively. They didn't coordinate it as well as I think that they could have, and I think that's maybe what cost them trying to take that position out of WRG last game.
Yeah, definitely. And we tune into OGC, who are making a rotation towards Lava Fisher. The armor situation is great on this side, yeah. So they're probably looking to take a couple of fights, which they've already done, as El Diablo is actually the kill leader in this game so far. So they've been on, you know, a bit of a rotate rampage, if you might say. And look, the composition allows for it, right? You've got the Octane that guarantees you that speed, you know, to get into some fights with that launch pad. You've got the Wraith with a little bit of escapability here and there with the portal. And then on top of that, you've got that defense side. So I'd like to argue that as much as you'd probably, you know, replace the Wraith for an Octane and vice versa, the two do work well together in a sense. If you're going to play for frags, which I think, you know, they're trying to do here, it definitely does work.
I couldn't agree more. It's definitely, it can be aggressive and defensive at the same time. You know, it's very, very versatile. And, you know, looking at Project Rise, running a bit more of an offensive combo, more of that hunt and chase down combo. The likes of Daddy Cool, Atomic Monkey, and Dog just trying to make something happen here as the Gibraltar ulti comes down. The big dome has been put down as well. The zone pushing them in. It is only zone 1, so they are going to be able to make a rotation safely through it. But, you know, at the cost of a little bit of resources, a few little syringes here and there, but it does seem like there's two teams still rotating in the zone, and it seems like they're rotating right towards them, and I'm not sure if they're expecting this at all, and they have been able to spot them out, as we do see the alternator ringing out shots coming out from Dog. They are able to down one player, and there's still 2 players remaining. They do see the one hiding behind the truck. I'm sure he's just trying to met up, get ready, and reset the fight, but unfortunately not able to do so as he gets flushed out. And it seems like Project Rise just making a simple rotation, but able to pick up 2 KP in the process.
Yeah, already a lot better from Project Rise. They got contested there on the opposite side at Overlook with, you know, Punks. So they knew exactly that they can't take that fight every single game. So they changed their rotation, and yeah, they are getting some more kills on the board here. So they're recovering from that a little bit of a dismal game. What is happening at Thermal Station? What is this, Cinder? Look at these 2 rats here. Do they know they're within each other's vicinity at this point? Like, freaking, this is a little bit rough, and they have to make a bit of a long ways. Ninja Millie also has to make a bit of a rough way, and it looks like Hydro Gaming Blue is not having a good run in this one. So a lot of people rotating in and out of the zone, as we can get a quick overview of what's happening. Not too many squads in zone yet. There's a lot of squads pulling out of Skyhook, though, making their way towards that area where we do see the lights of Factus up here, up at the top here.
And we spoke about this Trials, and Trials is just this ultimate high ground, the only high ground around the Skyhook area, unless you're in Skyhook yourself. And there are a few buildings to play from, but just not as high as the Trials ending. And seeing where that zone is pulling towards that northern side, unfortunately, Daddy Cool getting pulled out there. He's going to go down. It seems like Atomic Monkey and Dog have to clutch this up as they lay down as many bullets as they can onto that remaining player. It seems like it's WRG that they're trying to force a fight against. Arctic Monkey to follow, and Dog, the last remaining player, the Bloodhound, does get scanned. It's a bit of an ironic situation he finds himself in. He can maybe scan back, but it seems like they're going to drop right onto him. He's going to see if he can try and defend his defend himself as much as he can, but unfortunately not able to do so as two of the players from WRG say, no, you are not getting away. We want this KP. We need your resources. We are late rotating, getting to that zone. So we're going to need everything we can get, including that beautiful red Evo shield that's been farmed up on Scare.
Yeah, tough for Project Rise in that situation. You know, it's just like, you know, some days you log into the server and you're just that team that runs into the best team in the lobby every single rotation. Last game it was Punks, you know, it was a really good fighting team. And they won that fight with condition. And now they run into WRG. It's like, hey, what can you really do in that sit, you know? Maybe played a little bit better there. I saw Daddy he got knocked off, so maybe they were sleeping a little bit after they took that fight. But yeah, WRG making their way towards this next, so I'm gonna take this chapter out. And Blind Peak is actually without one player over here, because oh yeah, 20 did get knocked in the beginning. He was on top of that. I do remember that. I thought he didn't load in for a second there, but no, he definitely was here. He tried, but to no avail. But Blind Peakers have made the rotation here to Skyhook, and they're playing Edge of Zone as the duo here, which isn't too bad. They can fish a couple of kills, get a couple of kill points in, get a good placement as well. So we have to keep a lookout to where Blind Peakers is going to be playing in the future.
That's very true. It does seem like, you know, 20 pulling out the lobby a little earlier there. I think you still, even though you are down and out, I think you can still provide use for your team. You know, giving call outs, making sure you spot players that maybe your teammates didn't see at the time because they're still super focused and hyper focused on the game. As we see Fractus Gaming super hyper focused, they have spotted a team that is playing right underneath them. Unfortunately, cracking a few shots, but not that many shots as they do spot some free KP out in the distance here. It's very, very open. They have everything that they need to work with right now. As a truly with that 301, if there's definitely one player in the ZA scene that has the best control with the 301, it has got to be a Truly, because this man can just make it look so easy. He could have a naked 301 and still make it look like it is just locked on. It's just incredible to watch this man beam away. But 10 squads left, 23 people alive. Zone 3 on the horizon is going to be really interesting. We see another northern pull. It's going to be ending up on that trial situation. Whether it pulls left or right is the question, but a lot of these teams finding themselves on the edge of zone. And WRG, we saw, made an early rotation last game and opting for this late rotation in this one. Do you think it's going to work out in their favor, Tendo?
Yeah, I think it is, because look, there's a lot of teams fighting here at Skyhook, and Punks is one of those teams, and they're actually getting a respawn mid-fight here on the scenes, you know, so WRG in a really good rotation there. They're not going to fight too many people, so they can probably try to look for a good position. K9 trying to take some shots here to cover his teammate Tremble coming back. Tremble's going to try to get as much loot as he can and just, you know, try to get back into this game as quickly as possible. But yeah, Punk's on the bit of a back foot here, and there's a lot of teams in this area. I mean, he has innovated Crimson, who we saw the Factors taking a couple of shots from the top, the Trials area, who are now holding a position in the building. It's an alright position for now. The zone will probably pull away from them, since it's probably going to pull on top of Trials, and you can definitely see by, you know, Artruli's IGL, he knows this zone probably, and he knows exactly where to go. Like side, looking at the OGC, who have also snuffed out this Trials ending, are just going to wait things out here at the bottom of Trials.
Banana's just chilling with that Arcstar. He's ready for anyone who wants to drop. You want to drop? I got an Arcstar ready and waiting for you, along with that chopper. I mean, it's the Spitfire, the Spitfire, the Spitfire. What more is there to say? An LMG with 45 bullets, you can ring that off for half an hour and get all the kills that you'll need in a few seconds. So it's really, really interesting to see what kind of guns that are using, what's meta right now. We have the Eva Aiden R301 on Neo as well. And looking at Stealth, Stealth's making a very decent rotation here. They've been able to take up, I don't want to call this by its name, so I'm going to call it the tower just outside of Trials, which is a really good rotation, especially if it pulls towards them. And we will see that pull in a few seconds as the zone round 3 is about to close. And, you know, I think, again, considering, you know, where they are in the position that they have, they can definitely play this with late game. White Rabbit Gaming also making their rotation in here. They're a little bit on the edge. You know, they have ground to work with. They have a few rocks and a few things. It just all comes down to how far the zone is going to pull and whether it's going to pull right or left. But generally, we do see it pulling more into the open than onto these monumental occasions. But Again, there's 3,000 rand on the line here, Tendall. These teams, they need to play it. They need to play for the placement points. Get a good head start, get a good grip, just like WRG, just like Blind Peakers, and then you can carry on from there. But Aquatic Aims says no to that. He wants to get as much KP as he possibly can, as they are starting to gate this team late rotating, and I think it might be the likes of Punks that they are versing, as he is laying down the fire with that R301, as the Gutbuster trying to trade well with him, and they are just doing the best they possibly can. As the Arcstar crack does come out, they have got to jump out if they need to make a quick rotation out of the situation. But they are, I think they might not be aware of the team that is sitting on top of the tower, so that might be a little bit of a hard ask for them to understand what's happening there. Gutbuster taking a huge amount of damage. I don't think he has a Gibby dove to work, but he's going to get farmed down, and it's all up to Aquatic to make something happen, and he has been able to spot out that team on towers, but now he's in a sticky situation. He has two teams, one coming from each side as Gutbuster gets thirsted out, and this is a complete 360-degree turn to what we saw last game.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But I mean, the moment they go down to 2 members of the game, it's almost just a salvation mission at that point. And Punks, yes, the team on the opposite end here, and this is just zipping up here on the zip line, and they're just getting shredded by Punks, and Punks is just gonna send it up there and just try cleaning up their kills over here. K9 jumps up, now the rest to follow. Yes, Holder, yes, Tremble, the triple take shots from Tremble here. Not quite connecting until that final shot there. That hits for 87 damage, and that's just going to be stealth out of this game. Unfortunate for them. They had a really good position to try and move into this next zone, but Punks is so good on their gunfights today. They're just going to clean them up real quick.
It was really good. Speaking of a gunfight, we switch over to Innovated Crimson, Kaiju, and his teammate Zodiac just trying to make something happen in the city, and unfortunately being down, but he can still provide information for his team as we see him going for the Phoenix hit. He's going to see if he can get his health back, but there's just not enough time, as unfortunately he's going to have to try and make something happen, but not with that HP. The likes of WRG just saying no, and they're going to be able to flush out that squad, but look at how much damage was inflicted upon them. 2 members were knocked, and it was all up to Rexu, and Rexu with that chopper, especially with that gold heavy mag on. It's such an incredible viable weapon right now, and especially if you have that mag, you're able to swap and dance around both weapons and let that Spitfire reload all by itself. Would you say it's maybe just a little bit OP at this point, Tendo?
Yeah, I mean, look, hipfire-wise, the Spitfire sometimes does let you down sometimes. So it's really very powerful when aim down sights. And when you do aim down sights with the Spitfire, you obviously get a bit of a movement slow. So you are left a little bit vulnerable. But yeah, it's definitely a very powerful weapon right now. And honestly, yeah, I must just comment on WRG. This lineup that they signed, it just works so well together. You got Scare, who we know is the ZA fragger. I mean, look, Cinder, you and I costed that one game where Scare was at the top of Kings Canyon, there at the rig, 1v whatevering the entire lobby, and then you pair him up with Lone, who is, probably one of the best support players in South Africa as well. He's also a really good fragger on top of that. And then you get a Rexu, who can play support, but is also just on top of that really good, competitive experience. And on top of that, he's a great fragger as well. You just almost got an unstoppable team with some smarts, because you can definitely see this playing this game very smart. They know these lobbies are going to be a bunch of people running at each other, and that's seemingly what's happening. A lot of squads are getting caught off on the edge of the zone here. So you can see the 2 teams with the big brains here is Factus playing this high ground and WRG.
I mean, WRG, you spoke about their roster. Absolutely insane. I would be very, very curious to understand who's the IGL, who's the main voice, who's the one calling the shots in this team. Definitely, we might have to just get a young interview, a little quickie, just a quick message, and find out who is actually IGLing, because those are 3 very, very dominant, independent, individualistic crack players. So it would be very, very interesting to see who is calling the shots. But Mighty Donuts, unfortunately, just having a little bit of tough luck here, as we see white and blue armor on the 2 remaining players. They have been able to sneak their way in here. They are in the top 5, so really good placement coming out from them compared to what we saw from them last game, as White Rabbit starting to move in a little bit closer to the zone. They've taken underneath here, so they're in no line of sight from above, which is really, really good. Almost the same initiative that we saw them take last game. So, yes, you're not on the high ground. Yes, you don't have the ability to spot out all the teams playing around you, but you do have that cover to work with, especially from above. And it does seem like Logic just absolutely destroying one of the Mighty Donuts members, and that's Lags going to be eliminated. There's going to be one player left up for them, as we see Punks Calder is able to get a wingman down onto Neo and does get traded. K9 going down here. It's all up to Tremble and Calder to try and alleviate some pressure off of K9, maybe even get the res, but it doesn't seem like they're able to do so, as they have gotten into a skerfuffle with WRG also wanting to get involved in this fight. And it just seems like it's all up. It's, Fractus Gaming sitting on the high ground. It's their game to win. They're just going to let everyone fight, and they're just going to wait until everyone's dead and drop down and just rain hellfire and just wait for that opportune moment. And it does seem like Rexu is fully aware of this, making sure that they keep in touch, they make sure they check and ensure that that is not going to happen.
So the great thing about this is not going to end on that high ground, as you can see. It's going to pull off of Factors. So they're in a good position, but at the same time, they don't have a really good legend to guarantee them a safe rotation. Yes, they have the jump pad from Octane, but they're very vulnerable in the air. And obviously, everybody will be able to see that rotation coming out from you. So it's a bit of a tough one now, as actually, if you look at it, Punks is not in a bad position, though. They've got Watson as well, so they're able to hold up their guy. Hey, look, Calder's called. He's like, you guys, we actually have a really good position here to work off here. He's communicating with Tremble. We just need to hold this for as long as we can. Watson Gen has guaranteed them, defense from almost every single utility in this game, and they just need to hold their ground, which is exactly what's happening with these shots coming in from Calder. The portal in front of them, though, is going to be a bit of a risky one, but there's a lot of teams in this area with LOS onto their position, and they just need to hold out for as long as they can here, Cinder.
This would be really interesting. It's a 2v2 V3 situation right now, and this is, it's like anyone's game right now. There is a lone rat, I'm sure, from, I think it was Donuts, who's currently sitting just underneath Trial, but that zone is pushing in. 1 minute 20 left until that thing is fully closed, and it seems like the Trick's taking a little bit of initiative, just pushing a little bit, edging his way forward. This is a playable position. They are not off the map just yet, and they're gonna have to eventually drop down to the likes of Punks, to the likes of WRG. It does seem like Punks in a very advantageous position, as they do spot out the ball. One of the players taking it to the portal, but there is the Watson Gen, there is the fences, and they have everything to work with. It does seem like they are going to hit the med kit, but it seems like Dynamic did eventually drop down, able to eliminate OGC out, and it is a 2v3 situation right now by Rapid Gaming, Fractors Gaming, and the remaining Punks roster, as the Punks roster are trying to hold their own as much as they can, unfortunately not able to do so. So it's Fractors Gaming versus White Rapid Gaming. Unfortunately, Fractors taking the initiative. They puts them in a rough position, but in saying that, I'm completely wrong. It's WRG, Rexu, the last remaining player. 1v1 situation, he pulls out that EVA 8. He's trying to lay down as much damage as he can, and is able to clutch it out on 20 HP. That is just astronomical. Well played. Double back-to-back champion, White Rabbit Gaming, Tendo.
We have our Apex champion.
You know what? You called it in terms of that same position that they had in the previous game, and it's an interesting position, when you're in those spots where there's a team on your high ground, but they don't quite have LOS on you, and you have LOS basically on the end game, right? Because that's what WRG's position was, right? They knew what was happening in front of them, so they could plan out which fight to take, when to take a specific fight. So for them, they just waited for Factors to drop down on top of OGC. They end up cleaning up OGC. They end up moving on to Coldest team of Punks, because they have to, that's the closest fight. That's the guaranteed win fight for them, right? They take that fight. Punks, being such a good team, does so much damage on top of Factors and ends up, being able to clutch things out. On the opposite end, where WRG now is, in full control of what's happening in front of them. So WRG just tries to pick off whatever fight they can, and yeah, man, they just end up clutching it. So congrats to WRG for winning that one.
I mean, it's really well, and you couldn't have called it though. I mean, Rexu on the sliver of HP, and still able to rattle off as many shots as he did, especially considering that one of the members of Fractors Gaming was playing behind one of their teammates' shields. So he also had a really good advantageous position. It was interesting to see, maybe from their perspective, what was going on, what the comms were like. It would have been just, I cannot only imagine to be in that situation, but at the end of the day, WRG, the victors of game 2 and game 1. So they are looking in a really good standing. And it was really interesting considering we saw them play for position and they played guard spot straight off the bat. Game 1, they wanted to play position, they wanted to play it safe. But going into game 2, that was a complete 360, complete playing edge, farming their way into edge, making sure they got as many KPs as they can, as well as going straight into the top 5 and then securing the win. So, you can see the verticality and the versatility of that roster and how they are able to play, as you said earlier, just to whatever play style fits the game at that time. And it's really, really great Apex to watch. I couldn't even predict what's going to even happen in game 3, but if they can go back to back to back, that would be insane.
Yeah, it'll definitely be insane. And with that being said, we are going to go into a quick break as we get ready for the third game. Will WRG get a back-to-back-to-back? You know what? You're going to have to find out after this quick intermission. So apparently Scares IGL, guys. Decisives added me.
to go. Sorry, I was just checking my notes there, and I saw WRG. That's two back-to-back wins. I mean that's pretty insane. I mean, it's pretty
I don't know.
intense.
I don't know. I don't know how to rate that acting this and but like
Oh,
I'll give you like an 8 out of 10 for that
okay.
one.
I try. But WG, not one, not two. Well, actually, two, because we still got to go to a third map. But WG clutching two back-to-back wins. That's absolutely incredible. And we had a little. I mean, I kind of cheated, and Tendo kind of cheated as well. We had a little peek at the scores, and it is just.
Yeah.
It's pretty devastating. Pretty devastating.
It was actually a bit. We didn't really get to see how much WRG was doing that game, except towards the end game, Cinder. And apparently, they kind of went crazy in that game. So I might just hand over the scores to you, so you can just check this out and show the people exactly what they managed to do in that game.
To 31. Goddamn. 31 points that game coming out from White Rabbit Gaming. Punk's not too far behind with another 14 to match their first game with 14. And OGC also able to up their game there with an extra 2 points, clutching up 14 points. But WRG, 52 points. They have got such a gap right now. That is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it's crazy game they dropped there, man. I guess they just got the right rotations. And I mean, we did see that. They were pretty much hugging the edge of the zone when they were rotating. They were taking a couple of those fires. We saw them take the likes of, Project Rise down. So they were definitely getting the kill points. But look, let's not look away and shy away from teams like Punks, who were able to make it towards that end game with only 2 members up. And they were holding out for as long as they could against Factors, who are now pulling up into the 5th place position. So shout out to them. They've done well to, maintain this top 5. Blind Peakers, look, I think it's the 20 story for Blind Peakers. That's all I can say. 20 gets an almost extremely advantageous position where I'm thinking to myself, wow, he's got this for the team. He's got such a good spot. Ends up getting knocked. Banner unrecoverable. Has to leave Gutbuster and Aquatic to run things solo. And it just doesn't work out for them at the end there, where they're in between stealth and Punks, and they're taking up that fight, and there's just nowhere for them to run.
I mean, look, I really appreciated the initiative. I think taking that high ground was absolutely crucial. The amount that 20 could have done there would have been existential, especially considering that he had complete free fire. And I mean, let's be honest, no one's going to look up there until you realize that he's actually up there. And unfortunately, he did get spotted out and he was able to go down. But, unfortunately, Blind Peak is just not having the greatest of games there. But, again, they're incredibly good. And I see no reason why they aren't going to be able to bring it back in game 3. But, they're not too far behind. They're currently in 4th place, sitting on 25 points. So, they're 1 point away from 3rd place. And again, we're talking about top 3. Top 3 being the money. 3,000 Rand on the line for tonight. And, this is where it starts to matter. This is where you kind of just have to actually start playing better. Game 1, game 2, that's where you get your placements. That's where you get your foundation, you get your footing. Game 3 and 4 is where you run away with it. That's where you got to make something happen. And considering where WRG is right now on 52 points, I mean, you got to hot drop them. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying don't hot drop them, but I mean, you got to do something about that because they are running away with this lobby right now.
Yeah, man, and that's 100% true. You see a team like WRG, win 2 back-to-back games in a series like this. You need to do something about that. You need to step up. And hot dropping on them, look, wouldn't suggest it as a top 5 team right now. But look, if you're maybe like MSP Titans, maybe even Factus, at a 5th place position, you could maybe look to get on that
what
same
you
rotation.
got to lose?
Yeah, what you got to lose, right? You still need a pretty good game coming out of this game 3 to make sure you're still in contention for top 3. But you can definitely cut WRG on their rotation. And if you look at the way they're playing, it seems like you can predict how they're gonna play. They scan beacons, they make these edge of zone rotates and or get to the end game. So they land at thermal station at this point if you've been paying attention. So maybe fish around that area, see who you can snag onto. But you know what, Cinder, I think we're going to have to start getting into this game because it started quite a little bit of time ago. We were talking a little
That's
bit
so
too
good.
much.
Not much has happened except for Zydra going on to Jazz, Hayes onto Rad, Mango, and Ajax. I mean, there are fights just happening all around here. Unfortunately, not able to catch action, but we're going to stick with the storyline and see what MSP Titans are up to. Mr. Goodman, Crucial, and Frenzy. Now, those are, you were speaking about, we just spoke about it. MSP Titans, unfortunately, not doing as well as I'm sure they would like to be doing. But, there's still time. There's still hope. You can still go for, in the kind of position they're looking at the scoreboard, they can still do something about it. If they play this first position, they get a dub, they can, maybe farm 10, 20 points. They, get back up there. You can definitely get into the money if you push yourself. But, again, this is a kind of a new roster. Not exactly, I would say experienced one, but switching over to another team is a little bit more experienced. We have Aimless Boy Sax, I'd say yeah, one of those. Flowrider, ZA, Sensor Hayes, and Zydro just able to clean up a fight here. They're going to reset. They're going to get back to ground zero, landing at this Fragment East, which is something we haven't seen contested all too much, Denver.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen any contestants on that side. It seems a little bit free, but tuning onto the opposite side here, it seems like Abrupt is in a bit of a fight here. The wingman, okay. That's unfortunate, honestly. You get the headshot, you get the knock, but just behind you is K9 to dog you down, just like a K9 would, and take you out of the game. And the short-lived story for Abrupt as Punks is here on the little dust town. And look, Zydro's team is really close to this. If they heard that out, they might try fish this out, and it doesn't seem like the team is too concerned about resetting just yet. They're taking it a bit slowly. Calder needs to get his HP back up. You never know who'll be lurking, and the kill feed is kind of just blowing up a tiny little bit. There's a couple of fights breaking in and out, and OGC have a member down right now. El Diablo goes down, so they're in a bit of a tough position here. They will get their banner at least. And it does actually seem like they were fighting Project Arise on the opposite end. And I wonder if they actually were able to clutch that fight out. It does look like they did, since, they're getting the res. So, yeah, Project Rise, bit of a tough one for them right now.
Yeah, we saw the bleed out coming onto Daddy Cool, so that is Project Rise eliminated from the lobby. And again, another early elimination for them. That is just something that they can't have happen in Game 3. The lobby's full, granted, but there are so many points of interest that you can go and land and not be contested off drop. And you have to make that kind of intuition and go, I need to select a place that's going to be good enough for me to, not get contested off drop, even if it is a no-name town like Dust Town. And it does seem like Blind Peekers want to get some revenge, want to make something happen, considering the way that they went out last game, as we see the Octane Jump Pack come out 20, Aquatic and Gutbuster taking that initiative and trying to chase down Punks, but we see ASAX right behind them, so they're going to get themselves into a very weird position here, finding themselves sandwiched between two teams, as Calder is saying, hey, we see you, we know you're there, and we're going to lay down some fire to say, hey, we fought one team, we'll fought another team easily.
Yeah, so it's a bit of an open fight this one is as well, but the one side has a Gibby, so they've got a little bit of cover to work with if things get a little bit sticky. It does look like the team is trying to get some advantageous position with the team of Blind Peekers, but Punks is doing good to hold together. But now the shots are coming through, and they're pushing from this one angle, but it looks like Punks is just so good at coordinating their fights here. They take out Blind Peekers just like that, and now Punks have to reset, get ready for another fight. They're going to try to get out of the situation with all three members up, with 3 kill points on the board there, and they're just going to try to get out as quickly as they can. K9 takes a lot of shots and ends up going down into Floor Rider, and now Punks needs to try find a way to reset and try get out of dodge and just try get a little bit of a lifeline.
Unfortunately, not having a lifeline to get the res onto K9, so they're going to have to just reset, as you said. Maybe turn things around here, as K9 is giving them all the information. He has not been thirsted out, as they do spot the teams coming up and around his dead, dying corpse, as he's going to be fully flushed out. They would have to recover that banner in order to get him back into the game, and they are fully capable of doing so, as they have wiped out not one but 2 teams were ready in the first beginning starts of this game, and it seems like they're not going to stop anytime yet, as Calder rattling off some wingman shots. They're just trying to get a kind of intuition or initiative that they can push into this fight, but seems like neither of them being able to do so. And it's going to be interesting to see what this team does as they're starting to lay down a lot of fire towards Tremble's area. And Tremble is going to try and push a little bit forward, taking a very, very aggressive, initiation into that fight there, as he has made a portal and he's able to put that portal a little bit closer towards K9's death block. He was able to manage to grab the banner, and he's pushing towards the drop. There's just no stopping this man. He's just going nowhere but forward, holding down that W key, and the other team didn't seem want to aggress onto that, which is quite interesting. They just detached from the fight, they got the KP they wanted, they got the loot that they wanted, and now they're just going to chill.
Yeah, it's very interesting from that squad. I mean, you get the man advantage. The team's already been in the fight, so surely they're in shambles. It's one of those where you just need to clean them up, and now you're giving them a chance to get more points in this lobby. They have the banner of K9. They have options to rotate. You know, his own is closing in though. It's like there's a popping up on this side of WRG as we tune in over here, and it looks like Lone is knocked. Scare gets a knock. But they've cleaned this fight up just as quickly as we've tuned in to this one. So WRG, again, doing what WRG does best, just doing WRG things.
Being able to farm that lobby, play that edge zone, play that, playing guard spot, playing every single position they know how to play. They are just cleaning up this lobby right now, and that's something you just can't let happen. If you see their names in the kill feed, if you spot a fight, you hear shots rattling off, you see it down, you see WRG's name in there, you've got to make something happen. You've got to do something about that, because they are just going to keep doing that until somebody stops them. And it seems like Calder able to get a wingman down onto one of the players there, as he is just fighting. I think it was a 1v2 situation. He was able to down one, and it seems Tremble being a little bit too far away, but he's going to get the high ground. He's going to wait for his buddy Tremble to come and assist him in this fight, as I'm sure the other team was able to get the res. As we're saying that, he is getting the res as we speak, but he's able to rattle off all those massive shots back to back to back to get xChX out of the lobby. And that was the fight that they were fighting. That was the fight that they detached from in the originally, and it's really, really interesting to see them wrap all the way down back to Dustdown where it all started and just finish it up.
You know, we've seen Punks go through a lot of roster changes. I want to say, I mean, Scare was once upon on this team, in this team as well. So they're running Calder, Tremble, and K9. K9, a member of Mayo Addicts, if you remember Mayo Addicts in the Modern Tournament. They did pretty well in the group stages and the semifinals, but they kind of fell off in the final when it came to facing teams like WRG, you know, like Blind Peakers, who are better opponents. But now it seems like K9 is just, you know, flowing into the squad, you know, alongside Calder and Tremble, who already have great synergy together. I mean, you can just see the two of them, man. They've been playing together for a really long time. But in front of you right here, Calder is a rep push. He sent one back, but there's more. He's getting shot from everywhere, and now everything is just crumbling for Punks Gaming. It's only K9 with enough HP to really take a fight here. He's gonna have to be able to hold face. He's just been res. He needs to get back into this. He's doing good, yeah. He sends another one back, so now they're able to reset.
But that was just absolutely insane. They went down to such low HP, but Calder, where did that even come from? Getting the down onto Ninja melees, and this has just completely changed the whole entire scenario of the way this fight was going originally. Two of the members getting beamed almost down to nothing. K9 able to rotate in, defend his teammates as they start to reset, and the reset they have is Calder just laying down the law. He's on a different level tonight as they eliminate that squad, and all I see is Punks Calder, Punks Calder, Punks Calder, Punks Calder. 5 kills, the lobby leader right now. He is, he's Watson. What is he doing? What is happening right now? This man is just on some kind of something special.
Look, man, and Punks is a good fighting team. I keep bringing this up. These guys can fight. You know, they win their gunfights when everything's going their way, and clearly it's going their way here. They're just running through this lobby, they're getting all these points, and I haven't seen too much of WRG in the kill feed, so they're pretty much sucking up all these kill points and closing the gap between them and WRG, which is really great. They get their full roster back up. Everybody's fully kitted at this point, and they're ready to just keep moving through this lobby right now, you know. Calder putting in a massive shift here as a Watson player. This is such an out of meta composition that they shouldn't be doing this. He has 1.7 damage right now, Cinder.
He shouldn't be getting away with this, but he is, and he's just making this work. Watson, come back meta win. That's all I have to say. Hashtag Watson in the chat, because Calder is just making it look so easy right now. And Tremble and his teammate at just K9, again, just the way that they rotated and just traded out so well during that fight. A Revenant push is, nothing to snark at, especially considering when a Rev push gets going and they're able to tag you down and still not be sent back, that's when you got to be worried. That's where you got to be scared. But, they're just able to just trade out so efficiently and so well. But on the side of Invader Crimson, it seems like they are holding on the edge of the zone just outside of Lava Fissure. And, it seems like they're just popping shots, just trading a little bit of damage, farming up Evo. Each of the teams just, making a little something happen, just getting in a little groove there. But I don't see anything happening too much from this side unless they're able to get a notch and make a decent push on there. It seems like the Light Rise is the team that they're fighting. And look at that, WRG not too far away, but they've decided to go push another fight. They see Dynamica truly taking a lot of damage. Fractus Gaming, they have that hardcover to work with, but WRG does not. But they do have little nooks and crannies, especially going towards this in-game zone to work with. But we've seen this zone a couple of times, and it's one of those things that we've spoken about before. No one has been playing World's Edge. It's not in the official rotation. The only kind of experience you're going to be able to get is if you play in a tournament or an official scrim that is happening. Otherwise, there's no way that you could be practicing this map. So a lot of these teams haven't been able to work with this map for at least one whole full season. So it's really interesting to see the play styles that are coming out from each of these teams, not just the veterans, but the new guys as well. As unfortunately, we do switch over to this rat game. We have spotted the Lonely Revenant along with his teammate Miss Confusion, who has been eliminated. But again, look at that, able to get those placement points, get some points on the board, and bring them one step closer to that prize money.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know about that rat spot. He's a little bit, off-colored to be hiding amongst the bushes.
But there was a tree there.
Look. He's still here. Let's look at this again. Is he really blending in though?
It's a good-looking tree, to be fair. Come on.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess he's a shrub at this point. But yeah, I mean, so far things have calmed down in the lobby. And maybe Crimson Kaiju actually dropping the ulti over here, and he's gonna force that team off the building. I wonder if they're trying to make a bit of a play here, Innovative Crimson. They're actually making the rotate. This is a really good way to rotate the as well, by the way. So, again, like I said, Gibraltar is not necessarily just used for defense. He's not always used to, take your teams away from you. That's a good way to use the rotation. Now you've guaranteed that team won't be picking you. You can take that jump pad safely. And now they're in this end game over this team that has to come down the hill. And now they can just turn on them and have a good LOS on them. So this is great for Innovative. They can find their next position in the zone as fights are breaking over around the lobby. Yeah, as we tune into OGC, and Banana goes down, unfortunately, but this portal is huge from Neo. Gets him back onto the high ground. They should be able to get that res if they're in a good position. Zone is going to tick them though. Maybe they have a heat shield to work with here. Not too sure. Banana's going to bleed out, so that's just unfortunate. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do much from that. El Diablo right in front of an entire team. They're going to run out for you. They ain't going to let you get away that easily. He's ducking, diving, weaving, thermite in hand, jumping in between the rocks. It's a little bit tough here, and there's nothing you can do because that scare in front of you, and scare is not going to let you get away with that one.
I mean, in that kind of fight, you just got to imagine what the comms are like. Everyone just seemed so disjointed, didn't know what they were doing. Started with Banana going down, and then the portal being made, the zone pushing in. There wasn't much foresight coming out from the likes of the team. It's just really unfortunate to see them getting eliminated so early there. Seeing as there's still so much real estate and so many places to play from. With the likes of Innovative Sky, showing that they are on one of the high grounds. Yes, it's not exactly a great place with a lot of cover, but it's still a place that you can play. And considering how thin the lobby is right now, how insanely farmed this lobby is getting, it's that's something that shouldn't be happening going into the late stage of the game, but it is what it is, and you got to go with what's happening. As we see Zayu just rattling out some shots here. He's going to make a portal. He got enough damage. He got the flesh. He's got the call. The call has been made. They made the portal, and they aggress onto this team. As the down does come out, he gets it down onto Zodiac. The Gibby Dome has come out from the opposing team, and I think the ulti was dropped, but they're going to keep pushing regardless. They're starting to wrap around along the side of this crate here as they still trying to find the two remaining players. They have spotted out one. He has got the purple shield. Unfortunately, the Gibraltar is going to go down. They are 3 strong, 3v1 situation right now. They spotted out the Fountain players. They're trying to rattle off as many shots as they can. And the Octane taking the absolute high ground, going, I'm going to try flex on you, but it's just not going to happen. And that is Nosimul just being able to king that lobby out. Is now 5 squads remaining, 3 full teams. As we see Fractus Gaming, they heard this from afar and they're ready to get involved. They want to make something happen, and truly ready with that 12 ulti, throwing it down, laying down the law, and is completely open. There's not much to hide behind. Unless you have a Gibby, you're not getting out of here alive. There's one of the teammates goes down. That's Lynx. That's Fate going down. It's all up to Zai to make something happen. As the other team, Innovative Rise, has decided to get involved in this fight. One of them going down, unfortunately, but Zai, can he do this? He's in a 1v6 situation. It's just not going to happen. But Sky, not knowing that maybe the likes of Raptors might get involved here. The zone is closing them in. This is so unfortunate. This zone hurts. It's zone 4. One of the players, unfortunately, is able to, luckily is able to make it in. It is Light Zai. He's going to be able to couple to make it, but 2 of his teammates just falling victim to the zone. As a truly, he's just dancing. He doesn't care. He's dancing in the zone, taking 2 ticks of global tick, and there's 4 squads remaining, 10 people alive going into this 5th zone, Tendo.
Yeah, it's been very hectic, you know. There was 2 defensive bombardments on that team, and this was going south, and then we had to see the res pop up from the Octane player. There was so much happening, but everything's stabilized to some degree right now. We've got 3 full teams at this point, because like the Zaya is going to be having to rat this one out in a really tough position. And I mean, look, 4th place after what just happened there on that rotate, I think is pretty good for the team of Innovative Sky, so they shouldn't be worried. And again, we have our top 2 teams here, and yeah, they're just snuffing out this rat over here, WRG, so they're just clearing up this side of the zone, giving themselves some space to work with. So now, again, we have that same almost end game from the game 2. We have White Rabbit in here, we've got Factus in here, as well as a Punks. And looking at the positioning, Punks is in a really, really good place to work from, as they can try force Factus and WRG to fight each other from the outside. The only thing they don't have that would really give them a really great advantage is if they had a Gibby, you know what I'm talking about. So without that Gibby, they can't really force pressure besides, you know, taking shots from inside the building, but they'll have to just work this out with whatever they've got.
If they can definitely use that rate to their advantage, play a little bit more aggressively, he has that Q to be able to Q back in, and they have the Watson for that shield gen as well as the fact they're fighting in that bunker, which is just so perfect considering 2 of the other opposing teams have the Gibby, have something to work with. They do see the Gibraltar Dome coming out from a Trudy here. He has spotted out the team and where they're playing from. They see the bottom fences and they throw down a nade through that little gap. If you didn't know, you can throw a nade through the little gap of the door, and if you're able to do so, is really, really good. And it seems like the team wants aggress. They want in, they want to get inside. As the Arkstar stick does come out, Coulter is doing absolute work here. He's able to trade efficiently with his teammates as Trimble, trying to follow up on Coulter's Arkstar and get the remaining knocks. 2 of the teammates have been knocked. It's a 1v1 situation as K9 starts to try and finish that last remaining player. But White Rabbit Gaming, they've heard all of this. They've seen the knocks. They see what's happening. He's scared. He doesn't care. He's just going to jump straight through that fence and see where that last remaining player is and see if he can get the finish. They have spotted out the player. He is able to lay down as much damage, but not trading efficiently. And it's White Rabbit Gaming. 3 games in a row, Tendall. I mean,
We have our Apex champions.
how? Like, they're just playing it so well. They're playing it to perfection, and they're just winning every single time. They have the winning remedy. They have the juice. They are just doing everything perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a tough situation to dissect, right? Because you have 3 full teams. They've all kind of got a spot in zone to some degree. So the decision from Factors is, guys, realistically speaking, the open fight, which would have been that fight versus WRG, is not in our favor. We've kind of got some way to win this fight against Punks if we can make a play here. So Artrilli makes that call to, pull them over, and they try to take that door fight. And look, they're exchanging knocks on both sides. It's left to a 1v1. K9 clutches it out to some, well, not, he doesn't actually clutch it out. WRG comes from behind, third parties, ends up cleaning up Factus, and WRG just don't actually do anything to win that game. They just wait for a third party, enter on in, clean everybody up. So they're just playing smart rotations. They didn't really get that many kills that game as well. That was pretty much a punk show up until the end there, where WRG gets the win.
That's very true. And again, as you were saying, it's 3 full teams. It's a dirty little triangle that one of the teams has to decide to take the initiative. One of the teams has to make something happen. And considering that they don't really have the composition that's going to fight well into a Watson composition that's already got the cover, already has everything going for them and in their favor, but they have 2 angles to hold, the big door and the small door on the left. And unfortunately, it did seem like the initiation came from Fractus Gaming there, and WRG, as you said, just had free range and said, okay, cool, well, you guys fight, that's fun, well, what's left, okay, cool, let's finish it up. And again, that's game 3, but it seems like they've definitely secured and concretely first position, so I can't imagine any of the teams are going to be able to knock them out of that. But it's going to be interesting to see what those scores look like, because now it's a fight for second and third, and that's going to be really interesting considering how balanced and how close the lower echelon of that scoreboard was looking.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be quite exciting to see. Will WRG get the clean sweep today? Will they win a 4 out of 4? Let us know in the chat room if you think they're going to be able to do it. Or let us know who do you think is actually going to be in our winning the 4th game, guys. So again, a shout out to the sponsor of this stream, guys, for sponsoring that 3,000 Rand, giving us a little bit of action, giving us this competitiveness. Shout out to Monarch for organizing everything. Cinder, you know what? Let's just get right into this intermission, get right back into this final game. Yeah.
I think we're going to jump straight into the scores, see where everything, what the lay of the land is, and see who's closest, who is going to be the one who's going to be taking second place this evening, as we see White Rabbit Gaming, another 24 added to their scoreline, 76 in first place, not far behind Punks Interactive on 51. So if they have a really good game here and White Rabbit just seems to trip up, they might be able to take that first place, Dendor. And, you know, breaching third, we have OGC, you know, unfortunately just not playing as well as we have seen them play in the past tonight, but they're definitely there. Top three, they're still in the money, but they need to be careful because Fractors and Blind Peakers, they are one game away from jumping and taking that spot. And this is the...
There we go. There we go.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, we're gonna slap some cheeks here now.
I'm gonna try and slap some cheeks, yeah, why not?
Not we're gonna try, we're gonna slap some cheeks.
I haven't played yet, so it's like...
It
Same.
doesn't matter, we're gonna slap cheeks now, bro.
Oh, you
I'll try
invited
to-
me.
I tried to get fucking Gib or take Gibby and Ajax took blood under it. That didn't work.
It would have if they didn't have a Spitfire on drop.
Yeah.
That was unfair.
All three of them pushed me, bro.
I saw that, yeah.
Luxon. Okay, where are we going? Are we going, yeah? Are we going there? Are we going, yeah? Are we going there?
Yeah,
Where are we going?
just
Where are we
play
going? Where are we
nicely
going?
so we can
Okay.
at least get somewhere.
Very nice, man. Okay.
It's not a bad jump.
One team's going train yard. Two teams going there.
Yep.
Going to check it out over there. Never mind. It's go time.
Ooh, Spitfire.
Lovely. Take
Me
it.
like it. Body shield, yeah, Justin.
Got one.
Another, okay, oh, fucking white body shield.
Gotta hop up here. Skull piercer.
Okay, I need that.
Round one. Beginning ring countdown.
We get some good news. We're in the next ring.
Must go faster.
All right, let's do this thing.
Don't spend too much time here.
Yeah, I want to get a body shield.
Rabbit gaming is outside.
Yeah, and? Just go kill them.
No. What is this thing to buy? Turbo. Hello. 1 second.
Is there a light maker?
It's go time.
To buy? No.
Okay, where we go?
That way.
Which way?
Dodge us. We're
Should
going that
we
way.
move this way?
Okay.
Faster, faster, faster.
No one landed yet, so far I can see. Right, I do hear people.
What's that been?
Optics here. Close range.
I'm looking for energy.
I have energy, but I can't get it here. Ooh. Oh, button.
Come on, where the hell's all the scopes at? That's great.
aircraft in there.
Moving it down.
Let's check out this way.
Sure.
Already inside.
Come on, man. Where the fuck's the sights?
There's gonna be teams here.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be basically pushing all the squads on the outside in.
Being delivered.
Yeah. It's gonna end yeah
New kill leader appointed.
in that general area.
New kill leader. Show off.
It's all looted up top there.
Yo, I think other squads have already been through there.
They didn't go the opposite way, yeah. Did they say they didn't go the opposite way?
It's go time.
Well, that's scary. Thanks.
Yeah. The OP Spitfire.
Me got one too.
I got a Devo with a turbo, so
Enemy spotted.
Eh?
So they're far away and that fight's finished, eh?
yeah.
Or not?
Just got blood on the scan.
Raining down
On
some
your side.
contact lost.
Did you just
Is that yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Ready, set, go.
I'm gonna go for that portal. Knock the Gibby.
Down.
Contact. Down one.
You pull the legs,
That was the
buddy.
last one. Nice work.
Nice.
Don't shield out.
Charging shields. Come on.
Okay, that team's gonna push us, huh?
Yeah, I'm going out, yeah. I need to get out to the shield.
Giving my shields a recharge.
They're shooting at me.
Just watch there's a team behind us still in the tunnel.
Charging shields.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get out of here. Yeah, that's not that way.
Setting a portal.
You guys,
Open up!
Go, 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 go.
let's get to a building.
Get to it.
You guys are going the wrong way.
Let's go.
We're out in the open, yeah?
We can cross here.
Oh, no.
Okay, they ended
Another
you.
squad.
Yeah, I think.
They spotted me. I'm taking shots.
I don't know which
That's an
one we're going
obstacle.
to.
I'm just going to a building so I can reach them.
Okay.
Blood on
Pick a
scan from
building.
behind us. This one right here. Let's go up.
Which one?
One of them, any
Charging on
one.
my shields.
Come, let's just go to this one,
Moving
please.
here.
Amigos, let's go here.
Let me. I keep in mind now.
Yeah. Yeah, there.
Let's go here.
What? Go
On top.
faster.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Last one.
Down that one.
No! I couldn't. Fuck. How low was she? Damn, she was low.
Didn't you have a second gun?
I had, but it was both. I sprayed both. Didn't do much there though. Yeah, I didn't do much.
Oh well. It was fun while it lasted.
No, I'm not gonna watch the rest of it.
Nope.
Why do you have to?
Get the scores.
Oh. They weren't actually good, by the way.
No, we would have had them. The spray was just chaotic in that situation, though.
Like your devotion.
Yeah. I don't use the devotion as I should.
I heard the devotion. I heard the devotion going and I just didn't see it hitting the shot.
Because the second I hit them, they were down. The ones that you were shooting at.
Right.
So then I worked my spray out between those three who were downed on the way.
Oh, it wasn't people.
Nah.
Killed one foot.
Yep.
Right here.
That hard third party. Why am I jump master?
Death box here.
Okay. But it appears we're going this way. A lifeline above us. Team over here joining us.
Okay, we so dead, yeah, you know that.
Ah well.
Shotgun ammo here.
Accept our fate.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay.
you know.
Shotgun ammo
Bro, I'm
here.
running away. Fuck this, bro. Cheers. Sorry, Ajax, I'm leaving you, bro.
Warning. Ring movement.
They still chasing me, bro.
Heard that?
I'm gonna get you now, dude.
Care package being delivered.
Ajax.
I heard you.
Ah, just, yeah. What a shit jump, bro.
Target spotted. Target over there. Hostile spotted.
Oh, fuck it. Let me just go. Dude. Land and get no gun.
You got this. It's just raised are you.
Oh, I'm gonna go raise you, bro.
Nice.
Oh, it's only fair.
Beginning ring countdown.
Thermite grenade here.
Well, I have to raise you, yeah. We're gonna have to run to the other building unless you want me to raise you over here.
Anyway, it's fine. I don't care.
Shotgun ammo here. Arc star here. I say we move this way.
Surprised no one's here.
Mm-hmm. And there's another raise to our right as well.
Well, let's hope I can drop fast enough
Let's check out this way.
so you can get loot.
Let's go here.
Yeah, blue shield. In the bin.
Okay.
Let's go here.
Checking for squads. Don't see any, but
Bruh, got an
You
evo
never
shield
know.
here. Level 5.
What's the blue shield on this side? Well, yeah, there's so many blue shields here, bro.
such good loot here, though.
Enemy over there.
I think there always has been good loot, yeah.
Yeah.
Got an extended energy mag here. Level 4.
Medkit here. Someone's out there.
Round 4. Beginning ring countdown.
Mira, someone's out there. They're far.
Hostile spot.
Gotta hop up here. Anvil receiver.
Hostile over there. Hostile spotted.
Poisoning is over here.
Numpty in our orbit.
Let's go over here.
In progress.
Got an opening. Brothers, got an Evo shield here. Level 3. Hostile close.
Enemy spotted. Way out there, like little cucarachas.
Hostile right here.
Round 5. Beginning ring countdown.
Target spotted. Enemy spotted.
Spotted a
Enemy
numpty
real
over
close.
there.
About time we got ourselves a fight.
Bruh, got an Evo shield here. Level 3.
Spotted what we science folk call a baddie. Spotted a bomb pot over there.
In progress.
Enemy over there. Enemy over there.
We got trouble. Really close. Got an enemy out there.
Making contact with the enemy.
Final round. Beginning ring countdown.
Contact with hostile. Hostile right here.
Hey, amigos. Guess who's not with us?
Gaat af met me af.
Warning. Ring closing.
Evo shields here. Level 3.
Contact with hostile. Contact with target. Contact. Contact.
We have our Apex champions.
They weren't able to get the full sweep, but look, the position that they were in, I think WRG did pretty well. I just think, there's just so much utility to get through in those end games. You have to go through the one team's Gibby ulti, the other team's Gibby ulti, then the last team's Gibby ulti, and the domes. There's just so much, timing that is involved in that end game where whichever team is just able to use their utilities almost like towards the end really ends up winning. So Blind Peakers is able to stay in that building as long as they can, managed to come out pretty much lost, and they're able to take that fight up. And yeah, I think really, really well done from Blind Peakers. They've been having a rough day, but they're able to bring it back. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably land on the money cleaning that one up.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how that storyline turned out. But I mean, just looking at that, going into that final zone, the last zone, and seeing 3 teams, 12, bad math, 9 people alive fighting and vying for that first place position. And that is something you see in like top level tournaments and top level things like ALGS. Like that was incredibly well played by all 3 teams to be able to play that position, to play their heroes, to play that utility as well as they did, and to be able to make it that late. And fighting in that Gibby Dome. I mean, Gibby Dome fights, I'm sure if you're an experienced Apex player, fighting in one Gibby Dome against one team, hard enough. Fighting in 2 against 2 teams, not as easy. So it was extremely, extremely interesting to see how they played that. And again, you saw Gutbuster taking that jump pad into the air, buying him time in that Gibraltar ulti, buying his teammates time while they were fighting on the ground inside of those Gibby Domes. It was just exceptionally well played, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have come out with a win there. So really, really well played to them. But we are going to switch into a quick intermission. We're going to get the stores ready, and we're going to see who is going to be taking their portion of 3,000 Rand tonight. That was fucking insane.
Yeah, that end game was like shit. I didn't even know how. What I didn't even
Like,
know.
well, how would I call? Like, I didn't know how to call it.
Like,
Oh,
legit.
that's incredible.
Damn, dude. I'm watching it on stream right now, dude. I can't imagine fighting in there. Oh my goodness, dude. Godbuster's just like jumping everywhere. Mm.
Oh, dude, that was insane. Apparently his mouse died in the 1v1 one.
Really?
Lucky. It's a cap,
rough.
dude.
That's cap.
That's a
dude.
cap.
That is hard.
You lost
cap,
that shit.
dude.
P2020 got you unlocked.
Okay, scores up.
Thank you very much, sir. Shit. Okay, well, do you want to just bang it out quickly, T? We'll end it up.
Yeah, we can. Let's do it. Wait, let me just update this. Yo, it's heartbreaking, dog. It's heartbreaking. I've seen the scores already. It's heartbreaking.
Okay, I'll intro, you break out all the scores, and then I'll outro.
All right, great. Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah.
In 5, 4, 3, 2,
Mic off.
1.
As we said, we have one of the best admins that we've had since the beginning that has got the scores ready in 3 seconds flat. To be honest, I haven't seen the scores yet. Unfortunately, Tendo has, so he's got this massive grin on his face. He knows exactly what's happening, and he's going to break down all the action for you and tell you who is walking away with their portion of 3,000 Rand.
Yeah, I mean, before we go over the scores, shout out to all the players. So, putting yourself out there to, it's not easy to fight for 3,000 Rand. It doesn't seem like a lot, but like, when you're there in the battle trying to win it out, it's definitely worth playing for. And here we go, the scores. Some of you are going to be excited. Some of you are going to be heartbreaking. But it's no surprise that WRG are our winner for tonight. So shout out to WRG. They walk away with that first place position of 1,000 Rand. Punks obviously coming in and that second place. They had a really good game for, even though they went out early, they managed to get those kill points, and that's what put them in that second place position. I was actually a little bit worried that they might not get it, but there they go. And the unfortunate story of what I said, it's like if OGC wins this game, they're third place. If Blind Peakers wins this game, they're third place, and they are third place, It didn't really come down to WRG even having to be in that end game for this, third place position. And it's it's a bit rough to go down by 2 points, but you gotta bounce back, you gotta bring it back. OGC, they still showed us what they got. I mean, very consistent games, 12 points, 13 points, 7 points, 11 points. So I'd be pretty happy walking away with that. But you know what? I need to give a shout out to Blind Peakers. They came back after 2 horrendous games. Let's be honest.
5 and a 1.
5 and a 1 to come back and match their first game score and hit a 20 to come and clutch up that third place of 500 Rand. Shout out to the boys.
Streak that was happening with WRG, but we got to look at the bottom tier of the leaderboard, looking at Hydro Gaming Blue, not too bad, as well as Innovated Sky, MSP Titans, Noah is small. Project Rise and DLG. Project Rise, man, just not having good games at all tonight, especially with the likes of Daddy Cool and some really decent players on that team. DLG, Innovated Crimson,